Marcus stood in the marble lobby of Sterling Enterprises, holding a worn manila envelope in his calloused hands. His work boots squeaked against the polished floor as security guards eyed him suspiciously. He didn't belong here, not in this world of glass towers and designer suits. But he had a promise to keep, one made to a dying man who saw something in him that nobody else ever had. When the elevator doors opened and Victoria Sterling herself stepped out, the Billionaire CEO took one look at this tired single father in his construction jacket and let out a sharp laugh. She had no idea that everything she'd built was about to change hands. And neither did he. If stories like this move your heart, you're in the right place. Welcome to Kindness World, where we share real stories of compassion, second chances, and the incredible power of human goodness. Hit that subscribe button, give us a like if this story touches you, and drop a comment below telling us about a time someone's kindness changed your life. Now, let me tell you what happened next. Marcus had been working construction for 15 years, ever since his wife passed away when their daughter Emma was just 2 years old. Every morning he'd wake up at 5, make Emma's lunch, drop her at school, and spend 10 hours pouring concrete or framing buildings. Every night he'd come home exhausted, help with homework, make dinner, and tuck his little girl into bed. There was never enough money, never enough time, but there was always enough love. 3 months earlier, Marcus had been assigned to a renovation project at an old estate outside the city. The owner was an elderly man named Robert Sterling, Victoria's father, who'd made his fortune in real estate but had grown tired of the empire he'd built. While Marcus worked, Robert would shuffle out to the garden and they'd talk. The old man was lonely, and Marcus was kind. That simple combination sparked an unlikely friendship. Robert learned about Emma, about how Marcus read to her every night even when his eyes could barely stay open, about how he was saving every spare dollar for her college fund even though it would take a miracle to ever have enough. Marcus learned about Robert's regret, how he'd built a business empire but lost his family along the way. His daughter Victoria ran the company now, brilliant and ruthless, exactly what Robert had taught her to be. But somewhere along the line, he'd forgotten to teach her about people, about compassion, about what really matters. When Robert got sick, he called Marcus to the hospital. Victoria was there, phone in hand, already discussing quarterly projections with someone. She barely glanced at the construction worker her father had requested. Robert's lawyer handed Marcus an envelope and explained that Robert had made changes to his will. Marcus assumed it was a small inheritance, maybe enough to make a real dent in Emma's college fund. He cried and thanked the old man for his generosity. Robert smiled weakly and said something Marcus would never forget. "You showed me kindness when you had every reason to be bitter about your own struggles. You work harder than anyone I've ever met, but you never let it kill your spirit. That's worth more than all the money I ever made. Take care of my company, Marcus. Teach them what I forgot." Marcus didn't understand. Not until 3 weeks after Robert passed away, when the lawyer called and asked him to come to Sterling Enterprises to sign some papers. That's when he found himself in that lobby, envelope in hand, about to meet Victoria Sterling for the first time since the hospital. She emerged from the elevator like a force of nature, perfectly tailored suit, heels clicking with authority. Her assistant whispered something and gestured toward Marcus. Victoria's eyes swept over him, taking in the worn jacket and nervous posture, and she actually laughed. "You must be confused. The service entrance is around back." Marcus swallowed hard. "Ma'am, I'm Marcus Chen. Your father's lawyer asked me to meet you here. It's about the company transfer." Victoria's smile was ice. "Transfer? The only thing being transferred is my complete ownership now that the estate is settled. I don't know what my father told you, but..." The lawyer arrived, interrupting her. "Miss Sterling, perhaps we should speak in your office." 20 minutes later, Victoria sat frozen behind her massive desk, staring at the documents the lawyer had spread before her. 70% of Sterling Enterprises had been left to Marcus Chen. The man standing awkwardly by her bookshelf, who probably couldn't tell a stock option from a stock pot, now controlled her life's work. "This is insane," she whispered. "He's nobody. He's a construction worker. My father must have been manipulated, confused, medicated. Your father was examined by 3 separate doctors who confirmed his mental competency the day he signed this, the lawyer said gently. He left you a letter. Victoria tore it open, hands shaking with rage that slowly transformed into something else as she read her father's words. He wrote about watching her become everything he'd taught her to be and nothing he'd hoped she'd become. He wrote about Marcus, about witnessing kindness in action, about second chances. The last line broke something inside her. I'm giving you both what you need. He needs resources to build the life his goodness deserves. You need to remember that businesses are made of people, not just profits. Maybe together, you'll figure out what I couldn't. Marcus cleared his throat. Ma'am, I don't know anything about running a company. Your father knew that. I think he wanted us to do this together. Victoria looked up at this man who had every reason to claim his majority stake and push her out, but instead stood there offering partnership. Over the following months, something remarkable happened. Marcus brought humanity back to Sterling Enterprises. He insisted on fair wages for service workers, created scholarship programs for employees' children, and started a mentorship initiative pairing executives with young people from struggling communities. He made mistakes, asked endless questions, and approached every decision by asking, "Is this kind? Is this right?" Victoria found herself learning to see the company through new eyes. The employees weren't resources to be optimized, they were people with stories like Marcus, fighting their own battles, deserving dignity and opportunity. Profits didn't fall. They rose. Turned out that when you treat people well, they build something worth building. A year later, Chen started college on a full scholarship that Marcus had established at Sterling Enterprises for children of single parents. Victoria attended the awards ceremony, and as she watched Marcus hug his daughter with tears streaming down both their faces, she finally understood her father's last gift. He didn't give Marcus a company. He gave them both a chance to become better than they were. Sometimes kindness looks like friendship offered to a lonely old man. Sometimes it looks like an impossible inheritance that changes everything. But it always looks like seeing the humanity in each other and choosing to honor it. That's the real signature that matters, the one we leave on each other's hearts.